Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a gentleman that was on exactly 1 year ago today when I first started my show. He is a four-time Canadian Country Music Association nominee and six-time Saskatchewan Country Music Association Fans Choice Entertainer of the Year award winner. Please welcome Codie Prevost. Hello, Codie.
Hey Ellie, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. I got to say a huge congratulations and a big thank you for having me as part of the 1 year anniversary. I'm just so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on. Thank you so much for agreeing to come back for the 1 year anniversary. It means so much to me. I kind of teased everybody on Twitter last night and told them I had a big surprise today. So there's going to be a lot of happy people today later on. Um, Codie, I know so much about you. You were, like I said, one of my first interviews, and it blew me away that you agreed to come on my show when I first started. And you were so captivating. And we'll talk about a whole bunch of things, but one of the things I love about you is how approachable you are to everybody. I absolutely love that. I mean, you've shared the stage with like Garth Brooks, Florida Georgia Line, Joe Nichols, Jason Aldean, Big and Rich, Neil McCoy, and you're still just yours, Codie, humble
Well,
and approachable.
I think a lot of it has to do with where you come from. And I grew up on a farm my whole life and in a small town, just outside of a small town. And when you come from a place like that, you're a pretty real person because you just have to be. There's no smoke and mirrors when you come from a small town. It is what it is. And just growing up in that and helping out on the farm and just keeping those roots, like I think that's where a lot of it comes from. And you know what I mean? I just really truly believe in treating others as you want to be treated and have respect for people because it's kind of a crazy world we live in today. And, every day if you turn on the news, there's something going wrong somewhere. And I just believe, there's a lot of focus that's put on that side of the world, but maybe not enough focus put on the good side of the world. And so if we can help try to make it better somehow, that's the main goal, I believe.
Well, and it is. I mean, I believe that we should pipe music in everywhere so everybody will just calm down.
Yeah,
But I
definitely.
don't, that'll never happen. Now, talking about where you grew up in Saskatchewan, which
Yeah.
is definitely farmland for anybody who has not been to Canada. Um, but they have like Yorkton and Regina and Saskatoon. They have big cities. Now, you obviously learned hard work and perseverance being on a farm. And you also have, I know I talked about it when we first had our first interview, you have what I call your Twitter Tuesday. And you're
Yeah.
doing the first Tuesday of every month where you talk to fans.
That's right. And so it's been going now for quite a while. It's been, I believe it's been about 5 years since we started it.
It's awesome. And they love you. I've had people email me or tweet me, whichever, asking me when you're going to be on my show again. And they're going to be very happy that it's today. Now, you've recorded four award-winning studio albums, including your most recent, All Kinds of Crazy. Now, it debuted number 6 on the iTunes album chart alongside Eric Church, Dirk Bentley, and Luke Bryan upon its release.
And there's one person, well, not one person, there's just one group of people to thank, and it's the fans, like you're saying, like on the Twitter and on Facebook and online, there's just these incredible people who come on there and they maybe hear a song of mine, maybe hear some music, and they contact me. And there's like, a few in particular. There's a girl named Pat, there's a girl named Ash, there's just so many people. And they just say, hey, Codie, what can we do to help you spread the word about your music around? And it's crazy to think that these people just, out of the goodness of their heart, come up and offer to help out in some way. And so they've been, just helping spread the word. And, it's all those people who make that possible for an independent artist to be able to have that album reach number 6 on the iTunes chart. And, I couldn't be more thankful to all those people who have helped and supported me from day one.
That is awesome. And I see that. I mean, I get your notifications and I see what goes on your Twitter. And there's the Codie Prevost fan. There's Codie Prevost UK. I think there's now Codie Prevost Australia. It's crazy and it's awesome. And I mean, now like you won the Western 2014 Western Canadian Music Award, and you were nominated for Album of the Year at the 2014 Canadian Country Music Association Awards. Now, your fans do have a lot to do with it, but so does your voice, and so do your songs.
Well, and it all works together, like it's, I've been fortunate to be, when I started playing music, I found a really good friend named Al LeBlanc, and he started helping me, started booking me shows, and nobody else would take a chance on me. But Al, he took a chance and he said, you know what, Cody, learn 30 songs. I'll give you a month to learn 30 songs and I'll start booking you some shows. And then Ali, it was 1 week later, he calls me and he says, are you ready to play? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, we got 2 shows booked this weekend. And so what happened there is it forced me into it without even being ready. But it was the best step that I've ever taken, and every single weekend, because we were only charging $100 per night to play, 3 sets of music, I was booked every single weekend for the next year. And what that did for me was just enable me to develop, develop my voice, develop my skill at the guitar, just develop as an artist. And, from there, then I was able to go online and go to Nashville. I took out a small business loan, traveled to Nashville, recorded my first album. Then I was able to come home. And, the internet was just kind of starting to roll. It was just, it came out when I was a kid, but by this time we were, starting to get MySpace and starting to get a few things going on. And so I was able to get my music up there and start introducing it to these fans that are just incredible. And so from there, that's how it grew. And one step led to another. And before I knew it, I was fortunate to be nominated for Saskatchewan Country Music Awards. And then that led to, down the road, about 5 years later, being nominated at the Canadian Country Music Awards. And so it's just been a journey. And I was telling you earlier today, I said, I was playing my acoustic shows now. I tell stories about how I got started in this industry and started in music and what it took and what I went through. And I really felt it. I connected with the audience in my live shows by telling these stories. And so I really wanted to take that experience online. So what I did is I created the Codie Prevost Diaries, which is a number of personal stories about, taking out that small business loan, going on my first trip to Nashville. Even I just do stories about, becoming a dad and, just all these different things that I've encountered over the years. And I release them on the Codie Prevost Diaries, and anybody can join. It's just you go to CodiePrevost.com and you're basically joining my mailing list, but what you get is the Codie Prevost Diaries. So it's just all led to this, and now here we are. I'm getting ready to release my 5th album, and just been a whirlwind of a journey. And I like a lot of days I feel like, oh, it's just getting started. Like every day I wake up, that's how I feel.
Well, and that's good. You want to wake up feeling still passionate about what you love, and you are, I mean, Codie, I couldn't think of a better person to come back on a year after I started because I absolutely love how real and open you are. And congratulations on your second daughter. You now have two, and I'm hoping when you they become teenagers that I don't know. I can't even I have one. She's now 30.
Right.
And yeah, being a teenage girl is a little crazy. So you're gonna have
So,
fun as a dad.
so are you saying I can call you for tips? Is that what?
Sure. Or you can call my dad. His rule was to make sure he had a gun sitting on the inside of the door when the dates would come pick him up or pick
Oh
them
yeah.
up. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go that crazy. Yeah, it's fun. Like, trust me, it's fun. You won't be bored.
Well, that's when people really want to be part of the Codie Prevost Diaries.
Yeah, no kidding. They're gonna enjoy the stories. It's gonna be amazing. Now, you've toured all over France, the US, also Australia. When did you go to Australia?
I went in 2015, and basically what happened is a friend of mine that I graduated with. Well, I did. He was a little bit older, but we graduated from the same school. He met a girl in Australia, got married, and moved there. And when we were growing up, he was always in bands, always DJing, always doing all this stuff with music. And so one day I got an idea, and I thought to myself, there's a lot of people that travel to Australia in Canadian winter because it's summer there at that time.
Hmm.
And I thought if I could go there, I could almost have 2 summers in 1 year. As far as music goes, that's incredible because there's music festivals and just the whole thing, and there's some amazing country music fans there. So I emailed him or Facebooked him and said, "Hey, would you be interested in booking me some shows?" So he said, "You know what? It's 6 months away. Let me just try and see what I come up with." And so a few months went by, I never heard from him. Finally, one day I got on Facebook and I said, "Hey, Ryan's his name, Ryan Anderson." I said, "Hey, how's it going with the bookings? Are you getting any luck?" And he emails me back. He says, "Well, I got 12 so far, and I'm still working on some more. I'm waiting to hear back." It's like, so you're saying I should book a plane ticket? So basically, I booked my plane ticket, and in January of 2015, I flew to Australia. And by the time I got there, I had 21 shows booked. I hit the ground there, and I released a single and released a video and did these 21 shows. And actually, on that first trip, I ended up signing with a label, Keel Entertainment, and so they brought me back again and twice in 2016, and now we're looking at hopefully getting a returning tour this year for with the new album coming out.
Oh, that would be awesome. I want to go to Australia so bad. I'm scared of like their crazy like insects and snakes that can kill you in seconds though.
Well, it's not that bad if you stay in town.
Okay, that's probably where I'll stay. Yeah, I'll be checking my shoes. Because apparently that's where Black Widow spiders like to go. Don't ask why that just popped into my head, but it did. Um,
Right?
Now, like you said, you're working on your fifth studio album. With winning producer Jeff Johnson. He's produced for George Canyon, Wes Mack. Now, it's called Radio,
Yeah,
and it's set to be released in February, but you have kind of like a special surprise. If people want to get it early, they can
yeah,
join your fan club, right?
yeah. Exactly. Well, not the fan club, but
Oh,
there's
the
two ways. There's 2 ways they can get it. So the first way was, once again, you can join the Codie Prevost Diaries because it is available to the Codie Prevost Diaries members prior to the release.
okay.
Or if you go to CodiePrevost.com, there's also under CDs, under the store part, there is the autographed albums, and if you go under there, you can pre-order the radio album, and when you pre-order it before the release date, you'll also get a second copy for free to give to a friend if you're interested.
Wow, that is fantastic. Now, you sent me your single off of All Kinds of Crazy. Um, and I love the song. And the song was called You Won't Sleep Tonight. I put it up on my website and I promoted it through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the feedback was amazing. And I want you to explain, that's one of the songs we're going to hear. I'm getting way ahead of myself. We're going to hear that and then we'll talk about the other song later on. But where did you wrote that song and where did you get that from?
Well, the idea was basically, as a musician, a lot of times we're gone from home. It can be 2 weeks, a month at a time, and it's really not that easy to just leave your home and your family and everything behind and just go on the road for that long. And so I got talking to a songwriter friend, Adam Wheeler, and we wrote Someday together too. But I said, hey, like, how many people struggle with this? There's truck drivers, there's you know anybody who works away from home, and quite a few people do
Mm-hmm.
go through the same emotions. And it's just basically that emotion that builds up inside of you to get home to the people you love. And so I said, like, I'd love to write a song, and so that's where "You Won't Sleep Tonight" came out. But it was interesting when I released it because in May our second daughter was born, so the song actually took on a whole new meaning of not sleeping through the night.
No kidding. And just so everybody knows, you'll hear Cody coughing a little bit. He's got a cold and he still agreed to come on my show, which is crazy. And thank you. Now, you've been on ET
So,
Canada, talk
well,
shows, morning shows, radio shows, nationally, internationally. You've also released 6 official music videos, with 4 of them being added to CMT.
5 years later, in 2010, I found myself in Windsor, Ontario, and I met up with a film crew there, and I asked them if they'd be interested in working with me, and they agreed to work with me on my debut video. And so we shot it to Rolling Back to You, and it took about a month to complete. I couldn't believe the work that went into a music video when it's actually only about 3 to 4 minutes long. And we shot this music video. We got the finished product, and then what happened is I sent it into CMT, which was Country Music Television here in Canada, and they sit around a boardroom table, and they decide which videos they're going to play based on, based on quality, based on the song. And so I really wasn't sure if they were going to add it. And so I was on tour in Ontario all by myself on an acoustic tour. And unfortunately, I got a call that one of my biggest supporters, my grandpa, he passed away. And I just remember how hard it was being away from my family at that time. And that night I was in a hotel feeling pretty down. And I got this phone call from Al LeBlanc, who I mentioned I was working with. And he says, "You'll never guess what happened today." And he said, "What?" I said, "What to him?" And he said, "We got a call from CMT and they added the video to medium rotation." And so I just remember being like, the hairs on my arms stood up at that moment, and I just knew, my grandpa was there and that he had helped me achieve that. And so it was a pretty cool moment. And after that, CMT did keep playing the music videos time and time again. And so I'm just thankful for that support and for that film crew and for just all that great things that came together to make that happen.
Wow, that is such a nice story about your grandpa. I mean, I'm sorry for your loss, but knowing that he, yeah, that okay, I'm gonna start crying, so we're gonna just carry on. Okay. Now, you've been doing this for since you were a teenager. And I know that from talking to you before. Um, if you had any advice to give a new artist that was starting out, brand new, what kind of advice would you give them, Cody?
Well, looking back now, there's so much you learn along this journey. And looking back now, I would give the advice to just get out and play. But when you're getting out and playing, don't just play. Actually, you know what I mean? Take the initiative to gather email addresses, to build a mailing list. Because what I looked at when I ended up in my career later on, I was like, oh man, I should have been more, because now I am for sure, but I should have been more. Oh, I need to keep this mailing list because this is the foundation of my career. I need to keep these fans together. I need to focus on my fans. I don't so necessarily have to worry about, oh, I need to get a song to radio and I need to be on the radio and I need to be, in this limelight and I need to be playing these huge shows. It's more about focusing on those little steps and doing them really well that will turn into that big step that you're looking for.
Wow, that's great advice. And I love, like I said, I love how open and you talk to your fans. And unfortunately, I know like the bigger you get, the busier you get. But you always take time out where there are some artists that people that manage their Twitter aren't them, and you're not talking to them. And it makes a difference being able to actually talk to, and I'm going to do this, I'm doing air quotes, stars. You are a star, but you're a star because of how humble you are and how much you give back and how much you interact with your fans. I absolutely, absolutely love it. I also love that you're putting Canada on the map. I mean, anybody that I've talked to has heard of you, and your followers are growing daily. And like I said, you have a bunch of fan clubs across Twitter that message me and talk to me about you, and it's just amazing. And talking to you before we even started the interview is like talking to a friend I haven't talked to in a while. And that means so much to me. And you just being so excited about coming back on my show for my 1 year anniversary, just it kind of was like, wow, really? Okay, cool.
Actually, you know what I mean. This is a great show, Ellie, and I'm just so thankful to be on it. And actually going back to the artist thing now for one more second, there's one question that comes to my mind, and it's like, if you don't have your fans, what do you have?
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think that's the question to keep at the forefront all the way through your career. If you don't have your fans, what do you have?
Yeah, because you won't get too far without them. They're the ones that buy your music.
They're the
um,
ones that, you know what I mean? They're the ones that are going to be there for you no matter what. If
hmm
you get dropped from a label, well, if you've been building that mailing list for a long time and you have connection with those fans, they're going to be there for you.
exactly. Exactly. And every tweet that I've seen from your fans is all love. It's beautiful. I like watching it, and I do. I go and check it out because I know you do go on Tuesdays, and now it's Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month. So everybody, if you want to go and talk to Cody on Facebook, Twitter, make sure it's the first Tuesday of every month, and you can talk to him. Now, we already talked about "You Won't Sleep Tonight." That's one of the songs we're going to hear. What is the other song? You had already mentioned it once.
Yeah, the other song's called Someday, and it was actually written with Adam Wheeler too. He's just one of my favorite writing partners in Nashville. We were writing one morning and we came up with a song, went out for lunch, came back, and it's very uncommon that we'll write two songs in one day, but that day we did. And I just started playing this melody on the guitar, and he started humming a melody of lyrics, and they just started coming out. Next thing I knew, it was there on the paper, and I knew it was a song about strength. And there's a theme that's come to me in the last year, and I've really tried to brand it towards myself because it's making music to make a difference. And I really want to think about that phrase because it's like you get to a certain point in your career and you ask yourself, okay, what is, I got into music because I love music, but what is it truly that I'm desiring to do? And how do I want to give back, or how do I want to? And so this song, it just, when we did the music video for it, the director had the idea of, Codie, because he's had a lot of background in this area, but he said, this song means hope, and there's a huge issue with domestic violence out there in the world today. And I think, if we shot the proper music video for this song, it could make a world of difference in people's lives. And so that's what our goal was. And so we shot this music video, released it on YouTube, and the messages started pouring in on Facebook and in my email, from fans, from people who had been through struggles in their life and who are also facing times right now in their lives, and just saying what this song did for them, how it helped them to overcome these obstacles that they were facing. And so for me as a songwriter, it changed my life. It was like, wow, I didn't know the true power of music till this moment. And so it's just yeah, it's one of those things again where the hairs on your arms stand up and you just feel like you're on the right path.
Well, and you are. I went through domestic violence for pretty much from the time I was young till, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. And I absolutely love the song. And everybody will find love. I just want to say that because that is what the song is all about. Everybody, there's hope. There's always hope. And I'm glad that you did it the way you did it and addressed the domestic violence out there because it's an everyday issue. And it's not just, everybody has this stigma of it's always men, mistreating
Right.
women. And no, there's women that mistreat men. So it's both ways. Um, Now we'll get off serious topic because that got serious. Um, if anybody wants to find out more about you, they can go to your website, codieprevost.com. Make sure you sign up for these Codie Prevost diaries because you get access to stuff that, I mean, your album hasn't been released yet, and they get to get it if they do sign up for Codie Prevost diaries. You can buy Codie's music obviously everywhere online. And Codie, even with a cold and early in the morning, I want to say again, thank you so much. It means the world to me that you think my show is worthwhile and you jumped at the chance to come back for my 1 year anniversary. And I'm going to cry. I just want to say I appreciate you so much. And I am a fan before anything else. And I absolutely adore you and your music. And one of the things I got from Codie, because I'm on his emailing list, was a family picture of him and his wife and his two girls at Christmas time. And it touched me. I was blown away. So these are all the little perks you get when you know Codie. And it's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And Codie, like, thank you so much for coming on.
Ali, thank you. And I'm really looking forward to the 10-year anniversary because I know this show is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's because of you, because of how great of a person you are. So thank you.
Oh my goodness, now you are going to make me cry. Thank you so much. And yeah, you're coming back on when I hit my 10 year then.
Well,
Oh,
maybe we'll try even before that.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, I'm crying. All right. So thank you, Codie, and thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers.